Hello, and a warm welcome from my side. I'm Verena. I actually was working as a tech recruiter for many years, too many, and then started programming in my mid-30s, and now ended up basically in the cloud context, like working as a DevOps engineer and cloud consultant. And what I brought today is some insights, some anecdotes from my very first year working as a cloud consultant. And I'm trying to derive some tips and tricks, hopefully helping out when it comes to working and pairing with junior developers in your daily business. And I brought, let's say, some sentences, and the first one shall appear soon. Let me quickly show you, and let's face it, it's quite often not quickly, if one gets shows. And more often, and I think most of you can relate, we learn best if we do things ourselves, right? So if we really dig into it. So let us do it. Let us try. It might not work all the time, of course, but if there's a good chance or a good task to do, let us do it ourselves. But that quite often leads to another sentence I hear quite often. Well, you just need to. And for a new junior, it's never just, really not, believe me. And moreover, it's helpful to get a possible solution, or get the solution right away. But for the learning effect, it would be way more efficient or better to really discuss pros and cons, different solutions. Why is one solution better than the other? Instead of just throwing the solution right away, right? Map versus object. That was a funny story. But when it comes to technical terms, keep in mind what terms you are using on a regular basis. For example, a map is completely normal for you. It might not be for your counterpart, right? I never worked with maps. I worked with objects, right? At least in JavaScript. So I think of it as a kind of a foreign language, right? The junior is still learning on top of everything else, right? So just keep that in mind, maybe. That was the arrow. Let me just, and off she goes, the arrow message. So we haven't really gotten what was the arrow. You have seen it 1,000 times, maybe, right? But we all know arrow messages can be cryptic. And it needs some, let's say, skill to really understand it. Every tool is different. Every language is different. So at least let us read it, maybe, so that we can kind of make our own thoughts about it. Why is your IDE so weird? Let me fix that. Please don't. So the IDE, or how I work, is my very last comfort zone I have as a junior developer, right? And as much as I love your wisdom, and I would love to get it, I'm not there yet, right? I will become eventually. Then I will ask you for all your fancy shortcodes, for all your fancy stuff and extensions you have, but maybe not now in the very beginning. Have you checked the document? That's really my most favorite, because, well, I did several times. I was sneaking in Google, I was checking Stack Overflow, but I'm still asking you, right? Because this is how I feel when reading documentation. And I think it's not just me as a junior developer, it was a lot. And just keep in mind, you have so much more experience, right? And reading documentation also needs some kind of experience. You can easily connect dots, right? Or say that's kind of similar, I did this and that. We can't. And I'm not starting about good documentation versus maybe not so good documentation. I brought some bonuses. So never forget, as a junior, the more you know what you don't know yet. And that can be really, really, really scary, right? And overwhelming. And that brings me to the next one, which is there's a tiny line between a positive challenge when learning and challenging too much. And that's okay. That's life. But it's definitely worth talking about this line, right? And exchanging thoughts. And last but not least, we learn most from mistakes and fuck-ups we made ourselves. So find a pet project. Let juniors work on it, fail miserably, break everything, and then fix it. And they will learn for a lifetime. They will never do that mistake again. That was me. Thank you so much. If you're interested, there's also a link. You can further read.